Everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and welcome back to day 9 of the Time Management Online Group Challenge. And so today I wanted to talk to you about something very, very important. Basically talking about how it comes without effort. Human emotion is a very, very complex thing. And the funny thing is that other people are sometimes better at reading our emotions than what we are. It's like with today that I had a full day of clients. I had them all booked in, but I was just so tired, I just needed a break. And kind of like when you need something, sometimes it has like a method of just turning up. So every single one of them messaged me to reschedule. And it was for different reasons, like one person's, they've got a kid they've got to look after, one, they've got a mother that's in hospital or something, or for whatever the reason is, that every single one of them just needed to change their appointment, but I also kind of just needed just some downtime. So what we need to do is like just trust that things will work out. Or like with yesterday, I was going, well, I'd like some more money, and so then like I had, this is funny, like 2 clients came in at once, this husband and wife. I do this smoking program for 400. And they walked in, they both have the questionnaire in their hands, and I looked at them thinking, I only see clients one-on-one. And then I've gone, I was just like so tired, but thinking, why is there 2 of you? And they've gone, or the husband basically said, I didn't say it was for me and my wife. They've gone, oh, okay, I only see clients one-on-one. Can one of you come back at 5 o'clock? So then I had to see 4 hours of clients in a row without a break. But instead of getting 400 for that, I got 800 for that, which is really good. So between that and PayPal money that came through, that it was nearly $1,000 that came through for that particular day. But it was kind of interesting how you ask for something and it shows up. Because I like to do at least about 1,000 per day to sort of make sure that we're doing the 250k. We've got these goals, we want to be able to grow, but I want to be able to do it without getting tired. And then today, all of my clients rescheduled. Things seem to have a way of showing up. But the adult tantrum is very, very sophisticated. So this is something I really want you to watch out for, like the attitude that we accidentally, unintentionally bring to things. It's either a good one or it's a bad one. And sometimes it's just that we need our needs to be met. Like when we're tired, we're tired. Like when people say that they're tired of fighting, they're tired of bills, they're tired of life, they're tired of everything. Sometimes they're just tired. Sometimes what they need is to go to bed. So when like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or whatever they are, they're so tired, they want to stay up, but they fight to sleep. So they have a tantrum. And then straight after the tantrum, they're pretty much, they kind of pass out shortly after because they were just so tired. But the adult tantrum is that little bit more sophisticated, where we become a martyr or we sacrifice things that we didn't really need to sacrifice, or that we try to get more work done on a day where, like if you're coding your time and you only have, with the C, O, D or E, it's either creative, it's organizational, it's decisions, or it's extroverted. You've got 2 blocks per day, which means that you can have 2 of the same block, like 2 extroverts, nothing else. Or you can have 2 different blocks, but that's it. You get 2 blocks per day. That's all your brain wants to do. Before it's finished, you'll get all the results that you need strategically, but only 2 blocks per day. But the adult tantrum becomes, I'm going to put in 10 blocks in a day. Or like using all of code. Have you ever seen or heard of like web page designers or computer programmers or whatever? Like, so with a web page designer, because I used to hire web page designers in the past to do particular jobs, and I've had a lot of experience with them, and with students who have hired web page designers, that the web page designer, they pour their heart out and they do a job. And then the customer says like, oh, okay, can you change it? And then they redo it, then the customer says, can you change it? Can you redo it? Can you change it? Um, and then what sort of seems to end up happening is that the web page programmer is doing C in code, they're doing creative, and at the same time, they're in too much contact with the customer. They're contacting the customer 12 times that day. So they keep mixing their C and their E, and then their brain is in pain. Their brain's in pain because they keep mixing their C and their E, instead of basically only contact the customer once a day. Have the C part of the day where you do the creative work, have the E part of the day where then you discuss it. That's the end of the day. You cannot go back to C again once you've gone from C to E. That was your day. That was it. Don't become a martyr, because you're not going to get more done just by being a martyr. So the adult tantrum is so sophisticated. It's so sneaky what we do to ourselves sometimes. And so it's important to recognize where sometimes that when you're working on money, health, relationship, achievements, sometimes what you actually need is a break. So with yesterday's training, it was fairly in depth, but it's everything in one go. But the good news with it is that you can see that for the first 2 weeks, you really don't have to do much. So there's that program that we'd love to get you to join, because it's really going to help you. That we can get every single one of you across the line if you join and do the work. There's just the deposit of $350, then after that the $100 per week, and we help you build your online course. We help you get there. But what you need to do basically is just have faith in the process, have faith in yourself, have faith in your future. There's these 10 rules that we put together. 10 rules to manifest. The first one is basically sometimes stop watching it. So if you've got ads that are out there. This happened once with a student where I helped him to get up his webpage, his Facebook ads, and he put on a quit smoking program. And in that week, after spending, I think he'd spent under $100, $80 or something on Facebook ads. He made $2,000. So he was doing $400 quit smoking programs, and he got 5 people that week. He had a little bit of trouble with the clients, and that kind of put him off. But then on the second week, he didn't get any new clients through. And then he's gone, it's broken, we have to fix it. The web page is broken. And I've been no, it's not broken. This just happens. You've got a monthly cycle. Even with me, if I want to do a grand, every single day, 1 week I'll get 2 weeks worth of people book in. And so I space them out over 2 weeks. Another week, I get no one book in. But that's fine, because last week I booked in 2 weeks worth of clients. There's a cycle, there's a rhythm. And you've got to stop watching it sometimes. So, the heat seems to affect things, or the cold seems to affect things. When the weather is extreme and changing, it seems to change people's ability to be consistent. But that doesn't mean that your whole business just broke. You need to stop watching it sometimes. Take the snow day sometimes, or take the heat day. Because it's not going to affect your money over the month. That you've got to keep your ads out there. You've got to keep your program out there. You've got to keep selling. It doesn't matter about the result, because the result will be the result that it is. So that with us, it doesn't matter when the people start calling. That when I was out at a seminar last week, over 3 days, I booked in 8 new people for big programs. And they're all multiple day. Some of them are only for 2 sessions, but some are for 8 sessions. So I booked in a lot of people for a lot of different sessions, and then the week after, there was a few days where no one called for a couple of days. But it comes in these monthly waves in a way that twice a month you get these huge waves of people booking in, and that can do you for a couple of months if you want. But then you'll have these other 2 parts of the month where not a lot's happening. People aren't contacting you. It's great. Take a break from the phone. you've already got plenty of clients. Just see them. Or like with our online course sales and stuff, that like whenever every single time that we basically go, here's the start date of our online course, and here's how many spots we have. We fill exactly those spots. They come to us. It's like the universe provides us with the exact amount of students that we said that we'd fill. Yeah, that probably wouldn't work if we said 1 million, but like 1 million students. But if we go 5 spots, 10 spots, 20 spots, that's how many people come. And it just happens because we put the offer out and we leave it out there. So this guy that like he got $2,000 that first week, and then the second week no one booked in. Like he's very fortunate to have done two grand in his very first week of having a web page up, and then he turned everything off on the second week and left it off for 2 years. He let 2 years pass by because on the second week it was just a cycle that he wasn't going to get anyone called that week. The following week, instead of 5 people calling, he may have been able to have 10 people call. But he didn't give it the opportunity. The same as like that, we love it when people give us the opportunity to help them to build these things, to see what can come back. It happens while you sleep. So when you leave something out there, like it's that your business can't grow while you're watching it. Like you've heard that thing of that a watched kettle never boils. When you're waiting for someone to get back to you, like it's like when I don't know if it was an Einstein quote or something, but like if you put your hands on a hot stove for a minute, it feels like an hour. But you do something pleasurable, like you embrace your lover, whatever that is, for an hour, it feels like a minute. This perspective thing is that when you're in flow, time seems to just go very quickly. When people are in like that adult tantrum, every second seems to go so slowly for them. There's a number of things that have happened to me, like where I've had the best things that have ever happened to me happened because I took a risk. So I was at my parents' business at Cartridge World, and for 6 years there I wanted to basically like leave and go do hypnotherapy instead. And so what we were going to do is like, build the business up to the point where they could pay for my studies, because I just couldn't afford to study it. And so after a while, I just, after 6 years of working there and no progress happening, I just got sick of it. I've gone like, you know what, that I have to do something or else my whole life is just going to be this. So I left. I had a little bit of an argument with my parents. Like, we get on just fine now, but that day we had a little bit of an argument. I was living in their house, so I left there. And I just went and basically lived in my car at the river. And then I stayed at my sister's for a bit. And so my sister basically said, all right, I'm going to make you sign up for 3 things. I've done a resume for you, just sign it, and I'm going to send it out to like all these places. Here's a contract for the Academy of Hypnotic Science, like you're going to do their course. I'm signing up for that. And here's a house lease I found for you, about 20 minutes drive from here. I'm signing you up for that as well, just sign here. And I've gone, well, no, I just want to complain about my parents, because, or the same as like with my partner, like my wife leaving, all I wanted to do was just like complain about the villain. So it was my parents who were the villain because the progress hadn't happened, or it was my partner leaving, she's the villain because it has to be her fault, not mine. And so all I was focused on was just complaining about the villain. And my sister's basically gone like, nope, you're signing these 3 contracts. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't even know where my life's going, so I'm just going to sign these 3 things. And it felt like I just didn't care about the consequence. But then I got the house, the rental. I got a job within like a couple of days, and it was kind of weird that I was sitting and watching the phone, and no one was calling. And then finally, like, I've gone, I'm just going to go to the shops and see a friend. And then that's when I got called and was given this management job. And then I got called in to see, the Academy of Hypnotic Science, where I'd studied hypnotherapy. And I've gone, this is the thing, like, I've got this job and I can't really study here. And they've gone, we do weekends. You could just come here 1 weekend a month. Oh, okay. but I don't have the money to do the course. And they're like, we've got payment plans. And so what I found is, like, on this job, I could then, I couldn't afford alcohol, but I could afford my rent, and I could afford to study. And after a while, I ended up with like a pretty good savings as well. But it happens while you sleep. It happens when you let go. It happens when you stop watching it. That's why, like, I've got this picture of the planets where it's kind of like they represent different Earths. The world kind of is trying to work out, or the universe is going to be working out which one of those you're going to live on next. But you need to, like, put your intentions out there and then let go. The third one: learn to rest, not quit. So, like, as I was studying hypnotherapy, like, then all my entire focus was on just getting that certificate. And so sometimes, like, because, like, I had this job, I had a new relationship going on, which was great at the time. And so many times I just sort of thought, well, I need to, like, drop out. I need to, like, not do this anymore. But then somebody basically said to me, like, learn to rest, not quit. So, like, when you're in alignment with what you're doing, but you're exhausted, you don't need to basically throw out the baby with the bathwater. It's like that other client that I was talking about who had, a $2,000 week, then the next week nothing came through. What he needed to do was to take a break. When you're exhausted, the funny thing is, like, this is like how time works. This is how life works. People agree with it, and it kind of blows their mind, but everything they've set up until this point kind of disagrees with it, even though they agree with this instantly. Let's say, like, your life is, like, you're so important, that your problems are so big, so important, that you don't have any time to rest. It's like, hey, Scott, it's really great that you're telling me to rest, not quit, but I don't have time to rest. We go, well, why is that? Like, who is it that you're responsible for, and how much money's in your bank account? And how will those two things be affected if you rest? Like, well, they'll fall apart. I'm like, okay. What would happen? How much money will you have in 6 months? And in 6 months' time, those people that you're responsible for, how will they be if you just keep going? And you're like, I don't know. They'll be however they are. Okay, so what if for 2 weeks, what if you got hit by a car and you had to go to hospital? And you were in hospital for 2 weeks, and then once 2 weeks were passed, you were fine, you were healthy again. You just kind of needed to stay in hospital for 2 weeks. And then you come home and then you resume your life. You resume working on your money, your health, your relationships, the people that are dependent on you. In 6 months' time, then how much money would you have in the bank account? And how would the people be who are depending on you in 6 months' time? They'll be like, I don't know, they'll be fine. They'll be exactly as they would be normally. Like, so you mean to say that if you stopped working, if you stopped everything for 2 weeks, in 6 months' time, everything would be exactly the same as it would be as if you had not taken 2 weeks off. So then why are you so freaking attached to being this energetic martyr that always has to keep moving when you're tired? Like, sometimes just take a break. Because the weird thing about time is that people will ask for help if they have to. And they won't ask for help if they're being a martyr. If someone was in hospital for 2 weeks, we know that that's not really going to affect how much money they have in 6 months or in 10 years or whatever. It just doesn't matter. But the way time works is that we can only see a particular chunk of it, and we're very emotionally attached to the bit we're in. Or, like, people, they hold on to the money they have, they hold on to the time they have, because they're not seeing the bigger opportunity. It's kind of like, well, how was your life 6 months ago? Most people just don't care. How will your life be in 6 months? Most people just sort of just don't care. But how's your life now? And people can tell you about all of their problems. Like, well, could it be that with all of these problems in 6 months you just won't care about them? That people are more focused on the 3 months ahead of them than they are 12 months ahead of them. Because they can get emotionally attached to 3 months ahead. They can get emotionally attached to 1 week ahead or a few hours ahead. it's pretty hard to get emotionally attached to 10 years ahead. Yet that 10 years is just as important as 6 months. It's just the 6 months is coming earlier. So whenever you feel the need, just learn to rest, not quit. And make it fun. Like, this is what I love about you guys. That you really do make it fun. That there's always a way to bring humour into what you're doing. Like my Facebook post, I do silly ones, I do ridiculous ones. This week I've been posting a lot of jokes. This one's really, really interesting. I got this from a book called The Magician's Way. There's always action to take, but never anything to do. They kind of reference sort of quantum physics in this one, where the thing is, it's a particle or it's a wave. It could be either one. But when you're looking at it, it becomes solid matter. When you're not looking at it, it becomes a probability wave. I'm not sure if that's something that you've looked at or heard of, but basically what they're saying in quantum physics is that the observer has an effect on the thing being observed. Another way of saying that is that you actually can't look at something without changing the thing you're looking at. Every time you measure something, you're having an effect on it. So basically, there's always action to take, but never anything to do. Don't take everything so seriously in a way. Like, take action. Film a video, write a script, write an ad, see a client. But don't put so much pressure on what you're doing to say that, like, this is the exact second that's going to make or break my entire life. Just play. It's like what Bruce Lee was saying, that life is a game. Learn to play it, but play seriously. Play to win. But stop producing this picture in your head of, like, what if everything falls apart? That's when it's time to rest. That's when it's time to take a break. Stop the negativity. Pause, take a break, and then be positive. Literally, sometimes this is all you need to do in life. That, like, it's like with yesterday's map, like yesterday's kind of, that business map of saying, like, this is 6 weeks, you can run it 8 times a year. There's a lot of jobs to be done. But then, when a person looks at it, like, sometimes, like, what their brain can do is go like, oh my god, there's so much work to be done, I'm overwhelmed. Overwhelm is more of a verb than a thing that happens to you. Like, you can stand, you can sit, you can dance in the rain if you like. They're all things you can do. And being overwhelmed is actually, it's not a response to too much information. It's actually an action. It's a verb. People can do overwhelm, or they can not do overwhelm. Overwhelm's not a step in the process, and it's actually not like a thing that happens to you. All overwhelm is that somebody's just like letting their brain take control of them. When you see something that has lots of information, all you need to do is just like go, okay, well, that's the big picture. What parts do I know? Well, at the top row, I know what, when it says week 1, 2, week 3, 4, week 5, 6, I know what that means. So kind of one thing it means is that on the first column, it means in my first 2 weeks, all I have to do is that column. Forget about the other weeks, week 3, 4, 5, 6. Just focus on week 1 and 2. If I don't get it finished in 2 weeks, then do it over 4 the first time, and then do it in 2 weeks every time after that. But instead of being overwhelmed, or instead of like choosing overwhelm, you basically go, well, what one part of this can I work on? It's like with this this big massive course my brother and I are producing. We know exactly what the 10 modules are that we're producing. This is one of them. There's another 9. Another one is about how to do the remember, like in yesterday's map, like where there's the talking about the indoctrination mythbuster case study and then sales offer videos. One of our group challenges, one of our 2-week challenges, is one of our 10 modules. It's to do those things. It's to produce your indoctrination mythbuster case study and sales offer videos. Another 2-week challenge is all about how to do the Facebook Live AdStore videos. And then, so there's 10 of them. That's a lot of work. Even like with this one, producing this one's a lot of work. And people are like, "Oh my God, Scott, how do you fit it all in your head?" I'm like, "Well, I don't." Well, I kind of do, but I don't fit it all in my head all the time. Like, not when I'm watching TV, or not when I'm talking to my family, or hanging out, or going on a date or something. I focus on it when I'm focusing on it. Other than that, I basically don't. I do what I'm doing. Once I'm done, I finish doing what I'm doing, and I don't focus on it again until I need to focus on it again. So, the reason that we can produce unlimited, sophisticated, accurate, amazing content is that we're just positive about it. We believe that we can. We've done our research. We've done our work. We believe that we deserve, the students come to us because we believe we deserve it, and we've done the work to make that happen, and we follow the steps. So producing 10 modules like that, or if you need to produce an online course and you're like, "Oh, it's so much work," the conversation in the head going, "Oh, it's so much work," partially that's what the problem is, saying that it's so much work. You're only doing one piece of work at a time. Think about smokers. Smokers don't buy a packet of cigarettes to smoke a packet of cigarettes. They buy a packet of cigarettes to smoke one, and then they smoke one. One guy I saw yesterday basically said he spends $350 a week on cigarettes. I think we worked that out to be about like 18 grand or something a year. So he spends $18,000 on cigarettes a year just to smoke one cigarette, then one cigarette, then one cigarette. So smokers, like, let's say if they have 20 cigarettes a day, they don't go, "Oh my God, I have to get through 20 cigarettes a day." They get through one, and then one, and then one. The same as that, like, the philosophy is, like, if you're building an online course, if you're building a marketing campaign, just do the step you're doing. There is no overwhelm. There is just the step that you're doing. So what's really important sometimes is just to, if you notice it, because, Philip or myself or you or anybody, we're human. We have a human nervous system. We're normal. And so every now and then the negativity can get in. And that's when it's time to pause, take a break, and then be positive. Sometimes it's time to go to bed. The intent beats everything. If you bring the intention to get this right, you basically will. If you bring the intention to be a martyr, then again, you'll be right. So whatever your intent is what will happen. Learn from mistakes. Don't beat yourself up because of them. One of my friends was calling it a learntrum. So instead of a tantrum, they're calling it a learntrum. And I just really liked that, and that sort of stuck with me. And so a learntrum was basically, you do an action. You get a reward or you get a lesson. It wouldn't be great if it was always rewards, because then you'd never grow. It wouldn't be great if it was always lessons, because then the passion wouldn't be there. So the alignment and the passion from like those 4 values, that you need to have that energy where you're willing to make mistakes. Like, this is the funny thing. Anyone that you admire, anybody that you admire has had a difficult past. Literally, name one person for me that you admire who had everything served to them on a silver platter. Like, what you admire is people who have come from bad and produced good out of it. That's what you're attracted to in a mentor. People that have gone through pain and overcome it. Because if someone just served everything on a silver platter, it's like you can't relate to them, or you don't have that sort of idolization or that respect for them. You're just like, well, how would you know what it's like to be me? Because you've never been through any pain. So we love watching people that have had a difficult past, who have overcome it, who are overcoming it. It's like there's so much that I've been through that I'm thankful for, because it's grown me, but it's also given me really cool stories to tell. But the funny thing is that it seems like almost everyone else's plan out there is to avoid mistakes. And it is ridiculous. Name one person who has become successful without making mistakes. And then people have gone, "Oh, but as you're my coach, you can tell me what your mistakes were and I can avoid them." Like, no, that's not how coaching works. I'll help you to make those mistakes faster. I'll help you to recover faster. I'll help you to have more fun. I'll help you save 10 years or 20 years of your life getting there. But I can't help you stop mistakes. I'll help you make more mistakes. That's what I'll do. I'll help you make as many mistakes as possible and show you that they don't matter. and show you that you can survive every single one of them times a million. That mistakes can't break you, they can only build you. I'll help you make as many mistakes as it takes to get you to be exactly where you want to be. Because there's not one person out there that you admire that hasn't made mistakes. So don't avoid mistakes. Like, don't beat yourself up. Like, think about the school system. Like, what is it? What do? They punish you for mistakes. They try to make you avoid mistakes. That, like, on the test, they tell you, but boom, you've got 3 mistakes out of 10. Out of 10 questions, you made 3 mistakes. Or 5 mistakes. Like, they're punishing people. They're training people's brain. They're anchoring their brain to say, don't have a go. Because if you make a mistake, you're in trouble. Screw it. Make mistakes. Like, forget that whole sort of authoritarian styled don't make mistakes. Sure, there's hierarchy, but we don't need hierarchy where there's punishment for having a go. It should be reward for having a go. It doesn't matter about the outcome. There should be encouragement for having a go. And if it's been a while, then get back up. And some of you know who you are. You've been hurt. You've given something a go and you've been hurt. It's like money, health, relationship, achievement. I did give it a go. I did make mistakes and I got hurt. Sometimes, like, it becomes habit. When a person gets, once bitten, twice shy, what's actually stealing their future is not that they got hurt. What's stealing their future is their response to how they got hurt. You need to keep moving. And the last one, number 10, do the steps and don't react or overcomplicate. Basically, just have fun with the steps. And so tomorrow's the last day. We want to have some real fun with this. But let me know, like, what are your thoughts on where you're at so far, the training so far as well. Let us know if you want help basically producing an online course, because it is so much fun. You get paid so well for it. And we'll see you tomorrow.